Alright folks, it's October 1st and I actually set myself a reminder to do the video this month, so I'm doing it on time. Here we are up at the top of A where we always start, and the cover crop, that Sudan grass and a little bit of clover has survived in there. There's quite a few weeds, but that'll be totally fine. Matt and Tim are back in there harvesting peppers. Peppers are still going nicely, slowing down a little bit now with the weather cooling off. Tomatoes have pretty much shut down for the last couple weeks. It's just been cool. There's lots of green fruit on there, but not ripening very quickly. The kale's coming back nicely. Some of the cabbage and kohlrabi look good. Some of it needs a little bit longer, so we're going to wait at least a week or two on that. Tim went through the collards this morning. I'm cleaning up those. They're not in great shape right now, but doing okay. There's some more of that clover, and actually that's clover and oats that are coming out for cover crop there. Some old mowed Sudan. Here's the old planting of kale, which we'll actually get back into probably in the next week or two. Some bunches. Just cut some really nice arugula. Fall planting of arugula. Thinned out some radishes from some Bora King radishes that looked good from underneath the cover there. A little bit more cover crop where there was lettuce last week. The chicories are looking really nice right now. They need a few more weeks at least, so they should be ready kind of end of October, beginning of November. And I think we've got enough lettuce to last us through there. The jester is bolting a little bit, but we have some extra lettuce planted, so that's okay. I went through and clipped the winter squash and kind of did a rough count, and definitely did not work out very well with the spacing that we did this year in terms of yields. Kind of low, so we'll have a little bit of winter squash for folks, but not as much as we were hoping for. The corn yields are pretty decent, so we've got popcorn for everybody, and then we're still picking through dry beans. We'll see what we can do with dry beans. There's one variety, so the variety that really took down the corn here is a black Basque bean that I've been growing for since about 2006, I think. And I love that bean, but it was a little too vigorous on the irrigation this year, and it's actually still not quite ripe. We'll probably pick, I've kind of skimmed a little bit. We'll probably do a first pick today. Thankfully it's supposed to be dry this week and next week, so we'll probably get some good picks out of that. The eggplant, we stopped picking those a little while ago. I skimmed some just for myself and the crew last week. It's still really, really nice, but there's just not enough quantity for more than a few people. We also did kind of a last pick on the basil, although there's some nice basil left here in the hoop house, so I'll probably pick some of that for the farm stand today. And the Matina tomatoes, which I just picked, are still producing in here really nicely. There's some of the extra lettuce and some densely planted spinach, which if we get lucky we'll have that later in the fall. We took down the, you can see over here, we took down the cucumber trellis last week. That trellis system, which was big improvisation, ended up working really well, maybe partly because the cucumbers got mildew and so they weren't ever very vigorous, but it went up and down really quickly and held the cucumbers nicely. So here we are down more of that Sudan and clover again, and the leeks, so down at the bottom of the field here, and I'll turn around back to the U-pick section with the cherry tomatoes, which are still going but are kind of getting a little wild now that we've stopped pruning those. I'm going to walk back up the field past the chard, which is absolutely beautiful this year. Really, really amazing colors down, and a lot of the color is kind of down at the base of the plant, so when we pick it and we trim the stems you don't always get to see it, but This is a variety that called 5-color silver beet, and I've been making selections of this for about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now. And I'm really liking some of the color that's coming through there. It's not nearly as flashy as the rainbow chard that gets sold by a lot of companies, but it has a lot of really subtle variations. I'm going to just show you down here, like this one. You can see the base has kind of got these red stripes, these pink stripes that go up with the green, and some really nice oranges in there. You got some really deep red, so there's kind of good variation through there. Parsnips are looking good. We'll be picking those for a little while. We did a pick of the celery. We had extra space and we had extra plants, so we planted extra celery. It's going to be an amazing celery year. So celeriac is looking pretty good as well. We just started picking this new bed of carrots. We've had a great carrot fall so far. So the bed on the right there, we finished last week, and we're getting about 4 weeks out of a bed. So we've got 4 more weeks on that bed right there, and then we actually have, there's another bed under the cover here, so 4 more weeks after that, and there's only 7 more weeks of CSA, so we should have extra carrots. And then there's an entire extra bed, so hopefully with all those carrots we'll make it all the way through to the end and nothing will happen. There's the rest of the leeks, and we've started taking down the cucumber trellis. Hopefully that'll be down by the end of today. We can mow out that section where the summer squash and cucumbers were, put in some cover crop before the end of the month. Turning around here to section G. Beets are kind of slowly sizing up, so hopefully in the next few weeks before we lose all of our sun, those will get big. The fennel looks absolutely beautiful, but unfortunately some pest took out so many of the plants when they were really young that we do not have enough for the CSA. We only have about half of what we need. So we'll probably start harvesting that and just sell it through the farm stand. Parsley's looking okay. It's coming back from the first harvest. We'll harvest that again at some point. That's the old planting of chard, which is still going really strong. We harvested off of that last week, and it's coming back really nicely. And here's the pole beans, which we've stopped picking, but we've opened up and offered to the CSA members for U-pick. So that's the update right now for October, and I'll see you guys again in November.